Kitsa Oteo now.
Yeah.
So happy to welcome you to the Mystery Object Night. Kitsa and I went on study abroad together, and I feel like that, I don't know how you feel, Kitsa, but that was such a touchstone to my earlier passion for art history that really flourished into a lifetime of just really being curious and learning about art. And I like how Kitsa not only was like this fantastic friend, but has this desire to really evolve through your life in art history. I remember you were really interested in like Greek Orthodox and Byzantine, right, Kitsa?
Yep,
I thought that
true.
was so unique, as everyone else is like dreading the Byzantine unit in Art History 201, and you were like so great at illuminating how really rich and deep that culture is. And then now you are an educator, right?
Yes, educator. Uh-huh.
Yes, at the Museum of Art at BYU.
Yep,
And
over family programs. So yeah, I work with little kids now. Not as much
oh,
Byzantine art, but
well, you keep reinventing yourself. And we had the pleasure of taking friends to the museum, and you gave us a massive group this wonderful tour of the collection there. And I really just appreciate what you're doing for our like community in Utah. You really bring a lot of just good connections and relatability to the art in the museum. So do you want to just tell us for 1 minute, there's a program happening for families on June 9th, yes? At the
Yes,
museum.
I appreciate the plug. So as Becca said, I'm over family programs at the BYU Museum of Art, and June 9th from 10 to 3, we have a family arts festival, and you'll do crafts and you'll get to participate in photo ops and dress up and be part of a painting. There's just a lot going on at the museum, but it's a ton of fun. It's a whole day event. And you can bring your kids, obviously. And it's really great for the little itty bitties all the way up through about 12-year-olds, but that doesn't mean any 16-year-olds who want to come can't come. So yeah.
Yes. They'll be in the corner, like with their face in the phone. No, they will be amazed at how much they can relate to and jump in anyway.
Yeah.
Still kids at heart, right? Awesome. Well, I have some very interested kids, so I think we're gonna try and make it down there. So
Awesome.
thanks for all your hard work making that happen. Okay, so we're doing our mystery object tonight, and I want to just verify we have not seen the images that we've chosen for each other.
Correct.
But Kitsa and I both, I think, feel similarly that we want to help empower our friends who maybe don't have as much background in art history to feel like you can make any object in the museum meaningful if you just have a few strategies and a few ways to think about it that are helpful. So I'm going to look at Kitsa's, and we found kind of the juiciest, weirdest, wildest art objects that we could think of or that we knew about. So let's see, grab this screen. Okay, so here comes Kitsa's object. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
I had to go downstairs in our collection and dig things and had a photograph taken today. So this is
what?
Straight from today. So
oh my goodness. I don't know how many people have seen this if it's down in the basement.
Very few. That's why I chose it.
I think we need to put this one out. Okay. Can you give us a sense of scale before I try to make sense of it?
Yeah. It's about 17 inches by 16 and a half by about 7. So, I mean, the width is obviously 7, right? And then it's about 17 high and about 16 and a half long. So inches, sorry, excuse me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I don't have a lot of background. I know nothing. So the first thing I do, I guess, is just try and break it down visually. Yeah. So it looks like a kind of ceramic, maybe porcelain or something like that.
Yep.
And painted on the surface. And it has that really shiny, expensive looking gold trim on the jacket. pastels on the sleeves and kind of intricate flower work on the surface of the jacket. The jaunty boots I'm loving. And then kind of a contrast with the goat, who has some textures that are a little bit different that emulate fur. The one thing I'm especially loving is, it's hard to tell exactly, but are they wearing matching sunglasses?
They're wearing like spectacles, right?
Okay, yes, the spectacles that you have to like fit on.
Yeah.
And are they obscured lenses?
Yeah, in fact, if you allow me screen sharing, I have another view of
Yes.
it because you really have to appreciate this thing in the round.
No. Okay,
So,
let me get you on that.
okay.
I'm making you co-host. Okay.
Okay, here I go.
Okay.
I'll just show you. So let me just.
Oh, thank you. Wow, all the views.
Well, I mean, to do it justice, right? Here you go. Here's another view
yes.
in the front.
Oh, the rouge. Wow, look at that goat. Okay, thank you. This is even more than I had initially thought. More spectacular. So I'm seeing the goat frontally. The anatomy seems pretty observed, and he's got something in his mouth. And
Yes.
maybe it's like a bit, or like is it a cigar? I don't know. Cylindrical shape. And he's he seems like leaning back, but not in like a controlling way, like more of like a leisurely,
He is very leisurely, yes.
yeah, he's kind of at ease with
Mhm.
himself and with
Yes.
his goat, even though his size is really not well supported by the
Right.
animal.
Yeah.
And I'm also noticing, I mean, this object needs to see the light of day. I don't know where I can write the letter, but we have like a little object on just above the tail. Yeah.
Right, I've got this
Oh,
image. This is the back.
thank you.
There you go.
Right on cue. And it's like a little pincushion.
It is a pincushion.
Okay. And then the man has his little sewing box, or
Yes.
I jumped to conclusions.
No, you are accurate. It is a sewing box, and the pincushion kind of leads you there. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And some little bits and bobs in there. And he's got his like very fancy wig that's nicely coiffed. And yeah. Okay. So that is in itself a spectacular thing. I find a lot of meaning here just in the details I'm seeing, because I don't see this ever.
Yeah, and this is actually something out of my typical wheelhouse, right? You mentioned that I'm into the early Christian Byzantine stuff, but I went for wild and crazy.
Wow, this is more than I could have ever hoped for, honestly. So, okay, so I feel like that visual observation is giving me a lot to think about. One thing I'm wondering is, are we missing like a lens, or do you think it's some?
He actually only has one. It's actually his hair is over the other one.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
whether the glass was meant to go underneath there or not, he's only got like one spectacle versus the man.
Oh, okay. And I'm seeing something new now. The kind of the banner has a little crest.
Yeah, it's a strap for his sewing bag.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So he's like, time to put on my sewing kit for my goat ride. And then, there's like a little bag in front too. But where, a knight might have like his sword or his weapon, I'm not sure what. I mean, what could that be? It's
Are you
like
the little green part?
yeah,
here?
the green.
So this one?
Oh, there we go. Is it a parasol?
It's not.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, that's a mystery. And also a mystery to me is this like gardening stake situation on the horn. I'm not sure. So I don't know about that. Maybe you can fill us in. Context wise, I mean, to me, it feels like, oh, and there's a ruler. Didn't see that. Okay. So he's like context wise, I'm thinking either it's original to the Rococo era in the 18th century, or it's like a pop art reboot, like 1980s. I'm thinking of, like that Michael Jackson
Oh,
with,
yes, I know what you're talking about. It's a real toss up on this one. So.
I know. I mean, it feels satirical to me. And I don't know exactly who the artist is making fun of, except for the aristocracy of the 18th century. But somehow this feels more recent than that to me. So, but I do know that there's a lot of like these kind of diminutive ceramics made in the 18th century that were kind of precious and filled these really fancy houses in France. But I'm just, I don't know. I don't know about the date. I'm still up in, I haven't decided yet in my mind. So Kitsa, I'm already loving this so very much, but can you fill us in a little more on the context?
I would be happy to. I would be happy to. This is a little figure, a figurine. And let me start with the information. So it's called the figure of Count Burles Taylor. So it's 19th century. And I already gave you the dimensions. So it's 19th century, but you are right in the sense that it is sort of satirical.
Okay.
The original was a German porcelain, actually. And it was made for Heinrich von Brühl, and his tailor, or I guess as the legend goes, his tailor requested an invitation to dine at court. And in response, the Count requested that this one very famous porcelain maker in Germany at the time make a little figurine. And that's how he attended court. He was like, you can't come, but I'm going to have this here. And then, of course, it's very whimsical and sort of, beautiful, but also absurd at the same time. So it is sort of satirical, making fun of this tailor who requested to sit and eat with the Count in his court. And it became so famous that it was actually exhibited at the Great Exposition in 1851.
No.
The original was, yep. This is a copy actually.
Okay.
And so many people just fell in love with the piece, which is sort of interesting that they made copies of it. And you'll see various copies of it. There's different styles. There's a French style, there's a German style, there's an Austrian style, but they all kind of copy this tailor riding a goat. In reference to the original, and then they became popular items for people who could afford them in the 19th century to collect. So,
okay.
Yes.
So he kind of becomes this stock character that people can riff on.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Absolutely. And then just to give you some context in terms of the accoutrement, you're right. There's a pincushion on the back of the goat, kind of right above his tail.
Yeah.
You've got the sewing basket, and then on his sash that kind of holds the sewing basket, where we would think of a knight kind of having his emblem. He's got scissors and a ruler that are his symbol as a tailor. These are either his riding spectacles or the spectacles he uses to see the fabric as he's working, right? So fantastic. Yeah. And the goat has a matching pair, which is wonderful.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I want to stick to this image real quick on the goat. So if you can see on the far horn, I couldn't get a good picture of it, but those are scissors. So there are actually like sewing shears attached to one of his horns, kind of dangling there.
Gotcha.
And then this other, what you thought was a stake, is either like a chalk pencil or a bone creaser.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Get very crisp lines.
Yeah.
But yes, so yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love everything about it. And I love,
go ahead.
I love the whimsy of it, and also this kind of snobbery in just poking fun at the servants. And this is fantastic.
And that ambiguity too, that idea that you couldn't quite tell, is it 18th, 19th century, or is it like from the 1980s? You really
Right.
just don't know, because it could be either. And then just again, to that point about snobbery, it's widely believed that Rule had Europe's largest collection of watches, military vests. He was also known to have a vast collection of ceremonial wigs, hats, the largest collection of the Meissen porcelain. That's the porcelain that's kind of developed outside of Dresden, Germany.
Okay. Yeah.
So the largest collection, and then of course the original was this Meissen porcelain. And then he also had the biggest collection of Kabbalah books, which is like Jewish mysticism. So he just was a collector of all things wonderful, whimsical, fantastical, and
Wow.
eccentric. And this is,
And who knew this would kind of be the one we're still talking about? How fun. I love it. Well, thank you. What a treat
no
to have
problem.
this image now in my back pocket. I really think there should be a whole exhibition around this one object. Can we?
I keep trying. I've been at the museum for 4 years. I keep trying. From the minute I saw it, I was like, we need this.
Oh, totally.
Someday.
All right. Well, thank you. That was, and you know, it's so interesting as I keep doing these mystery objects, the objects seem to correlate more closely. I pick drastically different ones every week, and the ones I pick always seem to be collaborative with the ones that
Interesting.
that my friends bring. So here is its counterpart today, and I will leave you to it.
Wow. Okay. Let's see here. Well, I mean, you can't miss the cats, right? So you've got, let's see, how many cats? Let me get my little screen out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cats. How many notes? I'm not a musical person. How many notes are there on the scale? So it seems like perhaps that is a scale of cats. And I'm not quite sure how you get them to meow or to to sing their chord, right? But perhaps their tails are perhaps in the box, and when you play the piano keyboard, I guess itself, as is pictured in the background, you've got some noise that is being made. So this is all hypothetical, because that's just what makes sense to me.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. I might need a copy of this as well. So
It can go in your exhibition.
oh yes. I'll do an exhibition of curiosities.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll have to bring you as a guest curator. So
Yeah, I would love that.
is it I'm trying to tell, is it a print, like an intaglio print, or an engraving of some sort?
Sure.
Is it Victorian? Is it from like this Victorian period? I don't know why I would think that, except trying to look at the ruff on her sleeves. Gosh, and I feel like cats fit that time period. I don't know why. I just have all these preconceived notions of what the Victorian era apparently was like.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe that's all I've got.
Yes.
Tell me more.
That's fantastic. Those are some very, very bullseye guesses for sure. This is a print that appeared in a journal that was French. The publication date was 1883.
Oh, okay.
But French. And so this is a kind of illustration of what's called the cat piano.
I love this.
Very close. You were just right there. It's a little bit of a disturbing take on musical instruments.
Yeah.
This notion of the cat piano is that the cats would be in their cages, and their tails would be secured to the hammers of the keys that would have nails on them. So the cat piano actually was a notion that was written about in a book.
Okay.
And the book was published in 1650 from a scholar who was talking about the corruption of the royalty in Italy and throughout Europe. So it's kind of the same connection to the aristocracy that we were talking about before. But this time, this earlier 1650 publication talked about how there was a sad prince who needed cheering up. So the court musician director created this instrument to cheer him up, and this made him laugh. And interestingly enough, okay, so let me, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read this one thing. In order to raise the spirits of an Italian prince, a musician created for him a cat piano. The musician arranged cats in cages side by side so that when a key on the piano was depressed, a mechanism drove a sharp spike in the appropriate cat's tail. The result was a melody of meows that became more vigorous as the cats became more desperate.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yes, but it's not sad because there's no extant examples of this. And we think that this was never actually a thing, that it was invented by this scholar. And then interestingly though, so thinking about context, the journal that published this image was French in 1883. And if you think about historically when this was happening, at the beginning of the French Revolution, and that whole like complete break from the monarchy and absolute, rejection of royalty and the corruption that fueled that whole movement. I think maybe the cat piano represented something bigger than just this idea. I don't know.
No, that makes total sense. I mean, I thought it was bad enough that they were perhaps pulling the cat's tails, but far more sinister, even in its conception, right?
Yes.
Interesting. Wow.
And I just wonder, like, what kind of cultural, like, if people were really on board to totally accept this as truth by seeing this image. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and and then there was one other account in the late 1870s about this cat piano instrument being paraded around a town in Spain and a bear actually playing the cat piano.
Oh, wow.
I can't even fathom. But again, they said, okay, but all of this happened in 1549. So hard to verify any of it.
Unless you find the print, which we may now be on the hunt for. So
I know. So this is maybe a future art history dissertation in the works.
Yes.
Hunt for the original cat piano. I don't know.
Anybody who wants it, let us know.
I know. Yeah, we'll be in touch about the upcoming exhibition. Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, well, thank you for taking on the cat piano. Thank you for showing me. Remind us the title of your work.
Let me read it for you here. Figure of Count Bruhl's Tailor riding the goat. So, there you go.
I want to see all of them together.
I know.
I feel like I need one, but
I did see one for sale. They're quite pricey,
sure.
But I just want you to know you can find them out there. So
okay, good to know. Good to know. Okay, Kitsa, you're wonderful. It's so good to see you, and thank you for sharing. This has been really fun.
Thank you, Becca.
Okay, good night.